Yeah, go on, my friends. See, it's acting up. The intro thing is it's acting up. It wants to work, and then it doesn't want to have sound, or it wants to have sound, but then it doesn't want to go through the damn the cycle through the motions of the little mini video that it's supposed to be. And I don't know. I don't know if that's a memory issue from my damn laptop, because, like I said, the laptop is getting there. I don't know how long it's going to last. I don't have any confidence in it lasting too awful long, which scares me because I don't really have a viable replacement for it. There's a slight bulge over here where on the left side of the keyboard. And I think that's underneath. It's where the fan's at, and the fan just loud as fuck. You can hear, excuse my French, but you can hear the damn thing going. Anyhow, we're looking at the technical readout for 3067. And I always really enjoy reading TRLs when we look at new stuff. But one of the things that just kind of leaps out to me is when I look at some of the art and I go, are you effing me? Really? Are you? What? No offense. The thing looks like a walking weapon. It literally, it's so oversaturated by weapon systems, it looks ridiculous. There's a lot of that in BattleTech art, in my opinion. And I'm not the only one who says that or thinks that, because I hear it come up every now and then in various chat rooms and in commentary over the years. And, well, let's be honest, there's a bit of an animation and Japanese anime style behind BattleTech art in the first place, and anybody who doesn't agree with that doesn't understand how art builds on art. So there are elements in there. It comes from the earliest days. That's all part of it. But then there's this overemphasizing the weapon sizes, because most of these weapons wouldn't be nearly this damn big. They would be much smaller and less impressive looking on the big walking behemoth, because they would be, right? Or most of their internal functions would be internal, and you would just see this small port where the actual weapon exit part is, and the rest of it you wouldn't be as noticeable in my eyes. So when I look at some of that stuff and I go, "Ay-ya, are you kidding me? You're trying too hard there, artists. I applaud your efforts. I applaud your efforts, but you're trying too hard." Right? Some of these are very nice, and the lines are simple and slender. And as always, I love seeing new vehicles, because in a big stomping universe, the truth is the vehicles rule. No matter how much anybody else wants to say otherwise, you just literally, ton for ton, gun for gun, you got 100 times more vehicles than you do tanks. Excuse my nose. I was running in and out of the door yesterday a couple times without my shirt on, and probably shouldn't have did that. But I got a little bit going on in my voice too. I can hear it in my throat. Throat's been a bit funky all morning since I woke up. Like I said, I slept pretty hard last night, but it's still not enough. I didn't go to bed until after midnight. Got up around 7:30, excuse me, and my sleep for yesterday was a total, I think I had 5 hours total yesterday, because I worked, I took a couple hour nap Friday afternoon, and then I went to work at 5 o'clock and didn't come home until about 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30, so I think it was closer to 6, it was about 13 hours, and anyhow. Right, so I look at some stuff and I go, and some artwork I'm thinking, no. It's redundant, it's terrible. Right, so we get into the inner sphere of the BattleTechs. I think, what the hell is this? What the hell is this? Why would you draw it that way? Right, okay. Some of these are good, and some of these are like, oh yeah, really? It's like the legwork on this thing. The additional extra actuators. You've got an additional set. Items that are already critically in short supply on a normal basis. Not to mention the fact how often they get damaged and destroyed. And then what do? Let's just add a second, an unnecessary pair to our damn mech design, because you know that makes sense. I mean, some of these are pretty straightforward. They don't look too awful, too off the cuff, and not too out of control. Now, grant you, I have not had the luxury of playing hardly any of these mechs on a field, so I have no idea if they're worth having or not. I know a lot of, as far as I'm concerned, a lot of designs, and this is going to be typical, are redundant. They're basically a slightly updated version of an older design that served the same damn role. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's fine. And then there are some of these designs I'm like, what the hell are these people thinking? I mean, God, those four-legged ones they choose, they just look so stupid half the time. You know, more than half the time they look stupid as all get out. And some of these, I don't know, some of these designs you just figure that the actual design people were out to lunch because the aesthetics are horrible, right? Like, what the hell's the point of that? You know, let's have it hunched over, leaning forward mech, and then we'll give it some arms that can go up over its head like some weird frickin' whatever, you know? Are you kidding me? Whatever, people. There's some interesting stuff, but there's some others, like, really, do you think we can fit another barrel in somehow? Just somehow? Can we not just, why couldn't we just jam another couple barrels in here? Let's put some in the knees too. I know, how about some barrels down here? So let's just have lasers that, you know, overkill, man, overkill. And then what's with the little prods? These little thingamabobs poking out, some kind of sensors or something? Hello? In what world would they last? Just general use in the field would snap them damn things off on a regular basis. You're gonna walk through, push your way through a damn forest and see how long it takes for all your shits tore off. I mean, yeah, that'll make no sense. Then we got stuff like, what the hell? I mean, really, what the hell? What the hell? Why would you create a 25-ton mech that's nothing but a shoulder weapon? I mean, it looks horrible. And then, you know, here's another one of those. Are you serious? It looks like it's packing enough firepower to annihilate a frickin' mech 3 times its size. This is a 30-ton mech, and it looks like it's carrying a loadout for a frickin' a light assault mech. It just, the look looks stupid. And this one here, I'm not sure what. I think the angle could have been better. Sometimes the angles on these pictures leave something to be desired, but that's, you know, they're hard to draw. I've tried drawing these things. You know, I've drawn numerous of them over the years. You know, here's another one of them things that just seems like all overkill on the weapon side. You know, just the sheer amount of the weapons. I think that looks like a version, an upstep version of the old baboon, but, you know, oh, I know. Probably not even close. Yeesh. Alright. Yeah. Yeah, right. You look at that and think that ought to be a frickin' turret to spin instead of an arm, and you're making turret arms. I mean, hello. You're trying too hard, people. Artists, you're trying too hard. A little more subtle. It'll be a little more subtle with this stuff, okay? Just saying. And we get into the fighters. I always like seeing that, because as far as I'm concerned, there's never enough aerospace fighter options on the table. There's still quite a few, I mean, I grant you, and it's increased over the decades, without a doubt. But they don't get nearly as much coverage as they ought to, considering how much of a important role they generally play. I also think they tend to be downsized too much. I can understand a mercenary command or a field unit that travels around a lot not having a huge amount of aerospace assets with them, because they got to transport and store them like they have to transport everything else. But planetary defense forces should be thick with these things. Your first defense for a planet should be its air force, and you should have a robust air force. And if you're talking to populations of tens of millions or hundreds of millions of people, or even billions with a B, then where the fuck's the Air Force? They should have squadron after squadron. You should be able to put up 1,000 damn fighters at the drop of a hat. The first inclination somebody's invading on a large capital planet, we should have 1,000 fighters in the air. We should have 100 damn squadrons, easy. Now they might be dispersed clear across the system and clear across the planet and take a while to gather them all together, but the fact of the matter is that's the way it should roll. And if you want to argue that they're expensive and blah blah blah, that's true. So if 2/3 of this 1,000 fighter force was atmospheric fighters, you lost your argument, because atmospheric fighters in the atmosphere are quite powerful and potent, especially when you're putting in the numbers, right? We also know that by 3067 that there's this decline in warship design, build, and development. Most importantly, in construction, warships have always been an expensive endeavor that takes time to do right. And to make a stopgap, we actually start to see some permanently or purposely built assault dropships. Ships, when I mean assault dropships, I mean pocket warships, things that are potent enough to take on an actual warship and give it a threat. So there was a couple designs in here that were interesting, and then there was a couple of designs I thought you guys effed up when you did your stats, because your words say one thing and your stats don't line up with it, right? But it was interesting, and this came at a point where these had not existed when I tapped out. So when I came back and I started looking at these pocket warships that were drop ships, and I thought, Jesus, why didn't they have these things all along? Where were these all through the Star League era and into the successor states? It absolutely make absolutely no damn sense that they didn't have some of these things and more of them than they did. All right. So I think that this one here, the Overlord A3, and it says, yeah, where does it say this? Something about the missiles. If your larger fusion drive, expanded weapon bay, including including one for the Mammoth Kraken teleoperated missiles, the aerospace. So it does have its Kraken launcher. One of these here, it talks about having far more. The wording says it has far more missile launch capacity than the stats allow for. The stats don't allow for any of the shit it claims it has. So somebody dropped the ball on it when they talked about it. I mean, all right. I don't remember which one it was. I should have made a note. Damn it! I should have made a note. So I liked it when I seen the inclusion of these things and to see them becoming more common. To me, it seemed like that the Intersphere and the Star League really dropped the ball when they come out swinging with their jump ships or their warship fleet idea. These things should have been escorted by a lot more drop ships for the sole purpose of just that thing, right? When these things are so hard, they're so hideously expensive to build and maintain and repair. I mean, you want everything you can add to their survivability, and having their own micro fleet of support ships makes damn sense. So by the time we get into the current age, we're back to almost 3025 levels, when there's almost being as pretty much all the major factions still have a warship or two floating around. And even the clans, though, have taken huge losses on their warship fleets and have not been able to replenish them or replace them in any significant numbers, and have probably no intentions of doing so. And this played the same role with the Star League. So I mean, the Intersphere. The Intersphere houses, including the Republic, it doesn't seem like they went on any great warship building spree, which, if anything, the Succession War should have been an abject lesson to the futility of warships in general for BattleTech, because the warships, the brutal combat for space, is just that. It's so damn brutal that the chances of survival are pretty damn slim, and the sheer cost and expense of building these things in operations, not to mention the amount of resources and money that build a cruiser, an average cruiser, for example, could have built and outfitted several regiments of battle mechs, which gets you the more bang for your buck at the end of the day. And it'll be the mech units and not the damn cruiser. So, you know, the fact that houses aren't swimming in these things, let alone the Republic, the Sphere, how much different things would have gone from the Republic of Sphere if they'd have maintained that fleet capacity and kept constructing more warships. What if they'd have been able to, you know, field an actual navy of dozens or scores or hundreds of warships, as opposed to everybody else combined not being able to compete with that? How different would things have been? The coulda, woulda, shouldas of the world, the untapped rabbit holes of history, right? Where we didn't go down that path, we didn't take that road. Sometimes for the detriment of ourselves, and sometimes for not. Right there, right for the Leviathan. Anyway, I've always loved these things, and I will love them and continue to love them. Thank you for the fellow that sent me the PDF for this, and it's a great book. I'm sure most of you already own it. Till next time, I'm Rick. You ain't. That's a little messy over there in the corner. Have yourself a great weekend. It just irritates me.